In 1952, a retired factory worker in Akron, Ohio named Ruth Calloway sat down at her kitchen table and counted what she had left until payday. A pound of dried navy beans, 2 onions, a heel of salt pork, 4 potatoes, a can of tomatoes, a ham bone from Sunday. That was it. Number 18 on this list was so filling that Ruth's neighbor Vera ate it every single day for lunch for 11 consecutive years, and her doctor in 1963 told her she was the healthiest 70-year-old woman he had seen in 30 years of practice. Number 12 was documented by a home economics teacher in rural Kentucky as the single most economical hot meal a woman could make from a 1950s pantry. Under 19 cents, and it fed 4 people without anyone leaving the table hungry. And number 1, the meal Ruth made that Tuesday morning from everything she had. Fed her and her husband for 3 full days, cost less than 60 cents total, and tasted like something that should have required considerably more of both. Here's what nobody tells you about the 1950s American kitchen. The beautiful casseroles and the Jell-O molds that appeared in food magazines were not what most women were cooking. They were cooking what their mothers taught them. 1 pot on 1 burner, everything in, nothing wasted. The women cooking on the smaller budget were, by every practical measure, the better cooks. These 25 meals fed working class America through the 1950s on almost nothing. Hit that subscribe button and let us count them down. Number 25, navy bean and salt pork soup. A pound of dried navy beans soaked overnight, covered fresh, and put on the stove with a heel of salt pork and 2 onions before 7 in the morning. By noon, the beans had dissolved into the broth, and the broth had turned the color of cream and tasted of smoke and pork and something deep and slow that no canned soup has ever produced. The beans cost about 20 cents. The salt pork cost almost nothing. The whole meal fed 4 people twice. Number 24, potato and cabbage 1 pot. 3 potatoes, half a head of cabbage, 1 onion, a piece of salt pork, enough water to cover. Everything quartered and dropped into a single pot, brought to a boil and lowered to a simmer that filled the house with a smell impossible to resist. The cabbage turned silky and sweet after 40 minutes. The potatoes thickened the broth naturally. Cost for the entire pot in 1954, about 30 cents. Number 23, tomato and rice 1 pot. 1 cup of white rice, 1 large can of stewed tomatoes, 1 diced onion, a spoonful of bacon drippings, salt and pepper. Everything into a single pot, covered and left alone for 20 minutes while the rice absorbed the tomato liquid and the whole thing reduced into something thick and deeply flavored. A can of stewed tomatoes cost about 12 cents in 1953. Total cost for a meal that fed 4, under 20 cents. Number 22, poor man's beef stew. When the budget allowed for a half pound of stew meat, the cheapest, toughest cuts from the bottom of the butcher's case, it went into a pot with 3 potatoes, 2 carrots, an onion, a can of tomatoes, and enough water to cover. No browning, no flour, just raw meat and raw vegetables into cold water, simmered for 2 hours until the meat fell apart and the broth turned deep amber. The tough cuts produced the richest broth because the connective tissue broke down into gelatin that coated every spoonful. Number 21, split pea and ham soup. Split green peas required no soaking. Into the pot with a ham bone and cold water and an onion, and they simmered for 3 hours until the peas dissolved completely into the broth and the broth thickened into something you could stand a spoon in. Dried split peas cost almost nothing per pound and produced a meal that fed more people per dollar than almost any other ingredient at a 1950s grocery store. Number 20, skillet macaroni and tomatoes. Elbow macaroni cooked directly in a skillet with canned tomatoes and a diced onion and enough water to cook the pasta through, finished with a lump of butter and a heavy pinch of salt. The macaroni absorbed the tomato liquid as it cooked, and the starch thickened the sauce without any roux. A box of elbow macaroni cost about 15 cents in 1955. Total cost, 27 cents for a meal that fed 4. Here is what happened to the 1950s American kitchen. The food industry arrived with a solution to a problem that did not exist. It told women cooking from scratch was too slow, too complicated, too exhausting. That convenience was liberation. They were catastrophically wrong about the liberation. What they liberated American women from was the most powerful domestic skill they had ever possessed. The ability to feed a family of 4 on 30 cents and make it taste like $1.50. Number 19, bean and barley soup. Dried navy beans and pearl barley into a pot with onion, carrot, and whatever pork was available, simmered for 2 hours until the barley swelled and the beans softened and the broth turned thick and slightly cloudy. The barley thickened the soup from the inside without any flour and gave it a chewiness that made each spoonful feel substantial. A pound of beans and a bag of barley together cost about 30 cents and fed 4 adults for 3 days. Number 18, salt pork and potato chowder. This was Vera's meal. Thick slices of salt pork rendered in a heavy pot until golden and crispy. Diced potatoes into the fat. Enough water to cover. Simmered until the potatoes broke down and the broth turned silky with dissolved starch and pork fat. Then a can of evaporated milk poured in at the end. The combination delivered fat, carbohydrate, protein, and calcium in a single bowl. Her doctor in 1963 was not surprised she was the healthiest 70-year-old he had seen. He should have asked for the recipe. Number 17, pinto bean and cornmeal mush. Pinto beans cooked with salt pork and onion all morning until thick and creamy, served over cornmeal mush made by stirring cornmeal into boiling salted water until thick. The cornmeal absorbed the bean broth ladled over the top, and the two merged into something that was neither soup nor solid, but more satisfying than either. The beans provided protein. The cornmeal provided carbohydrate. The salt pork provided fat. Everything the human body requires in a meal that costs pennies per serving. Number 16. 1 pot ham and cabbage. A ham hock, a head of cabbage, 3 potatoes. The ham hock simmered for 2 hours until the broth turned smoky and rich. Then the cabbage and potatoes went in for another 40 minutes. The ham pulled from the bone and stirred back through. Cost in 1955, about 40 cents. Servings, 4 people, twice. Women who made this said the second bowl the next day was always better. Number 15. Depression potato soup. This meal was old before the 1950s. 4 potatoes, 1 onion, water, salt, and at the end, a can of evaporated milk and a lump of butter. The potatoes diced and simmered until they broke apart and thickened the water into something pale and creamy. Cost, about 20 cents. Women who had eaten this every day for 3 years during the Depression made it once a week in the 1950s and called it comfort, and meant something by that word that people who had not gone through the Depression did not fully understand. Number 14. 1 pot chicken and rice. 1 old suing hen, bought for less than a young fryer, went into a pot of cold water and simmered for 3 hours until the broth turned gold and the meat fell from the bone. The meat removed, the bones discarded, raw rice into the golden broth and cooked through absorbing the chicken flavor. Then the shredded chicken stirred back through. 1 pot, 3 hours, a meal that fed 4 adults twice. Old stewing hens cost less than young fryers and made better soup. Women who knew this were better cooks for knowing it. Number 13. Navy bean and tomato 1 pot. Navy beans soaked overnight and simmered with a can of tomatoes, an onion, a clove of garlic if there was one, and a heel of salt pork. The tomatoes added acid that kept the beans from turning to paste and gave the broth a bright red-orange color that made the soup look more elaborate than it was. This was the meal that appeared every Tuesday in certain households because Monday's ham bone had made Monday's soup, and Tuesday's bean and tomato pot was what came next in the rotation that stretched the week's protein across every meal. Number 12. Cornbread and vegetable 1 pot. Every vegetable in the kitchen that needed using diced and dropped into a pot of water with a piece of salt pork and simmered until everything was tender and the broth had absorbed all of it into something thick and savory. Then skillet cornbread alongside in the cast iron, golden and crispy on the bottom, eaten directly from the pan into the soup bowl. The home economics teacher in Kentucky noted the total cost at 19 cents for a meal that fed 4. She noted the nutritional profile was superior to most of what she saw being served at the school cafeteria for considerably more money. Number 11. Black-eyed pea and salt pork 1 pot. Black-eyed peas required no overnight soaking. Into the pot with salt pork, an onion, a dried chili pepper, and cold water. Simmered for 2 hours until the peas were completely tender and had thickened the broth into something creamy and deeply savory. Served over white rice with cornbread alongside. In the American South, this was not a poor meal. It was the meal. It appeared on tables regardless of income level because it was what people knew and what people wanted. Number 10. Oxtail 1 pot soup. Oxtails were the cheapest cut at any butcher counter in 1950s America because most people did not know what to do with them. Senior women who had grown up through the Depression knew exactly what to do with them. Into a pot of cold water with an onion, 2 carrots, salt, and pepper. Simmered for 4 hours until the meat fell from the bone in thick shreds and the broth turned deep amber with dissolved collagen that made every spoonful silky and rich. The cheapest cut at the butcher produced the richest broth. Women who knew this ate better than women who did not. Number 9. Lentil and salt pork soup. Dried lentils required no soaking and cooked in 45 minutes, making them the fastest poor man's protein in the 1950s pantry. Into the pot with salt pork, onion, a carrot, salt, pepper, and a bay leaf. 45 minutes later, the lentils had dissolved into the broth and thickened it into something that required bread to eat properly because a spoon alone was not equal to the task. Cost per serving, about 4 cents in 1954. Number 8. 1 pot pork and sweet potato. A pork shoulder cut, the cheapest, fattest cut, into a pot with 2 sweet potatoes quartered and an onion, simmered for 2 hours until the pork was falling apart and the sweet potatoes had dissolved into the broth and turned it a deep orange. The pork fat and the natural sugar of the sweet potato created a combination in the broth that was unlike anything that could be produced more quickly or for more money. Number 7. Butter bean and ham 1 pot. Large, dried butter beans soaked overnight, then simmered with a ham hock and an onion for 3 hours until the beans were completely tender and had absorbed every bit of the ham smoke surrounding them. The butter beans were larger and creamier than navy beans and held their shape better through the long simmer, which meant the finished pot had texture as well as flavor. Cost in 1956. About 35 cents for a pot that fed 4 people twice. Number 6. 1 pot chicken and dumplings. The old stewing hen that had stopped laying eggs went into a pot of cold water on Saturday night and simmered until Sunday noon. The dumplings, flour, lard, salt, buttermilk, mixed into a thick batter and dropped by spoonfuls into the simmering broth, cooked with the lid on for 15 minutes until they swelled into soft pillows that absorbed the chicken broth. 1 old hen plus pantry ingredients, about 50 cents in 1953. Number 5. Poor man's goulash. Ground beef browned with onion and garlic, elbow macaroni and canned tomatoes and water added, and everything cooked together in the same pot until the pasta absorbed the tomato liquid and turned red orange and thick and deeply savory. 1 pound of ground beef stretched with a box of macaroni and 2 cans of tomatoes fed a family of 4 twice and cost about 60 cents cents total. It appeared in every community cookbook published in working class America between 1945 and 1965 under 20 different names. Number 4, pinto bean and potato one pot. Dried pinto beans and diced potatoes cooked together with salt, pork, and onion until the beans dissolved into the broth and the potatoes broke apart and the two thickened the liquid into something between soup and stew. The combination of beans and potatoes in a single pot delivered complete protein through complementary amino acids. Though the women who made it every week did not know this, their bodies told them it was right. Their families ate every last spoonful. Nothing was wasted. Number 3, one pot split pea and bacon. The bacon rinds saved from the week's breakfast strips. The tough fatty edges nobody wanted to eat but nobody threw away. Went into a pot of cold water with a pound of dried split peas and an onion and simmered for 3 hours until the peas dissolved completely and the bacon fat had perfumed the whole pot with smoke and richness. The bacon rinds were free. The split peas cost about 15 cents a pound. The whole pot fed 4 people 3 times. Number 2, one pot bean and ham bone. The ham bone from Sunday dinner went into a pot of cold water Monday morning with whatever dried beans were in the pantry and an onion and simmered all day. By supper, the beans had dissolved into the broth and the broth had pulled the last of the ham's flavor from the bone and the whole pot tasted like Sunday had happened again on a Monday. Ham and bean soup from a leftover bone cost nothing above what had already been spent on Sunday's ham. The yield was 4 to 6 servings of the richest, most deeply flavored soup a pot of water and patience could produce. Number 1, Ruth's Tuesday pot. On Tuesday morning in 1952, Ruth Calloway started with a ham bone, cold water, into the pot. Then the navy beans she had soaked the night before, the onion, halved, the heel of salt pork. The pot went on at 7 in the morning on the lowest burner and she did not touch it again until noon except to add water twice. By noon, the beans had dissolved into a broth the color of old ivory that smelled of smoke and pork and something slow and certain. Wednesday, they had it again, thicker, the flavors deeper. Thursday, she added the diced potatoes and the can of tomatoes, and by supper, it was something new, thicker and redder and more substantial and sufficient for another 2 full meals. 5 meals from 60 cents. Nothing wasted, nobody hungry. The check arrived Friday. She did not call this a system. It was just what she knew how to do. Make Ruth's Tuesday pot this week. Buy a bag of dried navy beans and a ham bone or a piece of salt pork and put them in a pot of cold water Monday morning and leave them alone until noon. Then come back and tell me if it was just soup or if there was something in it that tasted like the kind of knowledge this country used to carry and has spent 50 years systematically forgetting. Drop in the comments which of these your grandmother made and what state you grew up in.